Pickle Rick, Eva. What I want to talk to you guys about is some cool stuff. I have developed a new technique using the 6K, 4K photo mode on the GH5 in order to very quickly scan someone's face or head or an object or a body and turn it into a 3D model. We use these scans to make digital doubles or sometimes to track things on people's faces. One good example was Daredevil Season 2, where we grabbed a quick scan of Elektra's face and we used it to track some black veins onto her for an entire scene. So if you want to learn to do that, let me try that one more time, Pilgrim. So if you want to learn how to use 6K, 4K photo mode on your GH5 in order to turn things into a 3D model, keep watching. So a couple of settings on the camera before you get started. I'm just gonna switch this knob to the 6K switch right here. That gets you into the 6K photo mode pretty easy. I'm gonna shoot in the 6K picture size format. The record method I'm going to use is recording start and stop. All that means is that you push the button to start it and you push the button to stop it, just like regular recording. Just in terms of your general camera settings, you don't want to think of this like you're shooting regular video. You want to think of this like you're shooting really fast moving still images. In priority order, as high a shutter speed as you can get, 200 or above, as high an f-stop as you can have, f4 or above, 5, 6, or an 8 would be great. As low an ISO as possible. On this camera, the native ISO is 400, so 400 would be ideal. Your white balance and all that stuff, set it to your taste. If you do know about photography, you know that the settings that I'm describing to you unfortunately require a lot of light, and that is true. You do need a lot of light to do this. So you want to be, I think, either outside in the shade or like me inside a room where you've got a lot of sunlight coming in. Those are your best case scenarios. And just one last thing, I recommend using a wider lens. It actually helps with the photogrammetry. It makes the focus easier and all that stuff. All right, with that being said, let us usher in our model and do this. Hey guys, so I have my beautiful model here, the gorgeous Becca C. Smith, also known as my wife, and I am gonna do this scan. I'm just gonna instruct my actor to stand as still as possible and look straight. So starting in the profile here, I'm gonna start recording. I'm gonna go around her with the camera, trying not to have my own shadow be an issue, all the way around to here. I'm not even looking at it, that's how confident I am. I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go up, and that's it. We're done. Now it's into the computer. Yeah, let's see if I can take that and turn it into a 3D model. All right guys, so we're in After Effects, and this is the latest version, 2018, and what's great about 2018 is it brings in HEVC files, which is what the 6K photo stuff on the GH5 actually is. I am just gonna drag in, make a new comp. We actually have a problem. We have too many frames for what we're gonna do in photogrammetry. It's gonna go really slowly, so we need to simplify this and have less frames. So we could export this whole thing and delete a bunch of JPEGs, but I'm gonna call this main. I'm gonna nest my main comp into main 2, but I'm gonna call this output. And what I'm gonna do in output is I'm gonna speed this up, and I'm gonna go to, I don't wanna do any like interpolation or anything like that, so I wanna do the fastest thing I can do. So I'm gonna make it, let's say 25%, so that it makes it 3 frames, like that. So now it's going a lot faster, but we didn't do any fancy time stuff. So if you look at it, it's just each frame is indeed a whole frame. All right, so now we're just going to render this. Composition, add to render queue, not Adobe Media Queue, because we need to do JPEG. So I'm just going to old school render queue. And I made a preset for JPEG. I'm going to go to JPEG, and I think it's just going to save to the desktop in a folder called output, which is fine. I'm going to hit render. And using magic, we will skip to the end. All right, so now that that's done, let's look in our folder that we just created and look at our images. And you can see that we've got a ton of still images. We have 112 items, which by the way, is still a lot. I might even, for the sake of this video, have this down. So I'm just gonna make it like 2-column like this and just drag it like that and hit delete. So now we got 56 items. This is probably more palatable for what we're going to do. You can keep more images. Just keep in mind the more images that you have, the longer this is going to take in the photogrammetry program. I think I saw Becca blinking a couple times, so I'm just going to go through these images and just make sure that I delete the ones where she's blinking. This is a program called Agisoft or Agisoft, not sure how to say it, Photoscan, and it's $179 retail for the standard version, which is all you need. There's also a 30-day free trial, which is great, so you can check this out and try before you buy, and I believe they have educational pricing and stuff like that too. It's pretty basic for our uses. I'm going to take all these images that we just captured, and I'm going to just drag it into this workspace area right here. Let's make this window bigger. And you can see we have all our images down here. We have this empty space here. The first thing you need to do in this program is just go to Align Photos. I'm going to do it on high, and this is going to take a long time. So we will, again, return after this is finished. All right, so that actually went a lot faster than I thought it would. Tearing down the images really helped. Having a fast computer really helps. So what you get is this point cloud is the first thing you get, and it does a pretty, in this case, it did a really good job of boxing in our subject. So this looks pretty good. So this is your basic photo alignment, and then we have to do our next step, which is the high density point cloud, which is the fun step because it looks really cool afterwards. But again, it takes a really long time. So the next, you just go down the list in this workflow. So the next one is build dense cloud. Sometimes I start on lowest just because it's the fastest. Again, this can take a really long time. I've never successfully been able to do anything on ultra high because I don't have that much patience. I have done stuff on high. I'm gonna try medium right now and just sort of see how long it's gonna take. All right, so that ended up taking actually about 22 minutes. I had time to go make myself a delicious cup of Phil's cold brew coffee. So good. So good. I just bought the beans. All right, so now we've made our dense point cloud, and if I switch my view from point cloud to dense point cloud, look at that. We have a Becca. Now again, I only did the front half of her. I didn't do the back half. One thing I forgot to do in a dense cloud is delete all this extra stuff that we don't need. You can just grab this selection tool here and sort of just be careful again, but go through and just start hitting delete and getting rid of swaths of things that are unnecessary, especially all these flyaways and stuff. All right, so for demonstration purposes, that looks pretty good. We go to the next step, which is build mesh, and we could go medium, high. I'm just gonna go high. It's a lot of points. You wanna build it off the dense cloud, which is the default, and ignore everything else. And I'm just gonna hit OK, and we're gonna wait again, hang out a couple minutes. All right, let's take a look. There we go. Again, I just wanna point out one last thing too, that all this was done sort of, other than the photo alignment, everything was kind of done on medium settings, and we deleted a whole bunch of photos. In fact, if I turn on this camera thing, you can see a nice representation of where the camera was in the photos that we used. We have a lot of options to make this higher quality, but you kind of have to balance time versus quality, and I think this looks pretty good for the amount of time we put into it. So now let's do that last step, which is go to build texture. I'm going to keep it at the default, which is 4K. This goes pretty quick. All right, so that took about 3-4 minutes. Let's go to view, textured. Boom, look at that. We have 360-degree Becca. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. That's it. Stay creative. See you guys next time. Good enough.